1 week season.
Guys, if you are looking for value this weekend, StatATL has you covered in that department. He has got a gem. He's going to be targeting that New York Giants ground game with one of his value pieces, but he's going to do it as he builds around the upside, hoping for the upside in this Colts-Steelers game, but going to do it in a creative way that you might not expect. So, guys, tune in here. We are in the DFS lab presented by 1 week season. He's StatATL. I am Cheeseman, your host, and we're ready to get into it, guys. Again, presented by 1 week season. If you could give the video a like and subscribe to the channel, that would be amazing. Stat, how's it going, brother? How was week 9 or week 8 for you?
Yeah, week eight was a pretty good week. I felt like I kept my player pool pretty tight and was right about a lot of things. I think we've said it before in previous weeks, but yeah, ended up being a decent week. Kind of looked at it after the fact and just went through and said, I play a pretty tight player pool, and just went back and said, okay, anybody that I played at 20% or higher, what could I have done? And I built 3 lineups that would have won the Millie Maker with, 49,500 or more in salary. So like legit lineups that I would have gotten to. So it was a little frustrating to kind of run through that exercise, but yeah, it was a good week despite having 50% ownership on Bijan Robinson, who did absolutely freaking nothing. So a lot of one piece doesn't sink the whole week. So.
Do you ever play the Millie? You ever throw any lineups in the Millie? I know you're kind of mainly a single entry guy, like the red zone and blind side, I think.
Yeah, no, I don't generally play those type of contests. A lot of weeks I'll throw a few lineups, maybe 10, 20 lineups into like the $5. Like the structure on that is, I'm not going to say it's great, but it's only like a 7th of the prize pool to first place. Whereas like the Millie Maker, like some weeks it's like 40% of the prize pool is goes to first. So like that's just such a tough structure. Like I think it's like $1 million to first and then like 100,000 to second place or something like absurd drop off. So it's like playing I generally try to stick to the flatter payouts.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for me, my week, my quarterbacks, I had basically 3 quarterbacks. I had a sprinkling of Josh Allen, but I had Joe Flacco, Jalen Hurts, Bo Nix. They all did well. I was slightly under the field on Bijan Robinson in the tournaments I was in, but certainly that hurt me. Was just I did I was kind of scrambling there at the end. I had some stuff I had to take care of kind of like earlier in the day, but had about 20 minutes where I could sit down and try and adjust my lineups for this Drake London news. And if you've ever been there before, been in that spot where you're just, trying to like make quick decisions about how, things that are going to affect your weekend as it relates to DFS, and just did not. I think I just let the Mooney ownership get out of control, and it ended up just, I ended up having 70% Darnell Mooney in my lineups. And dude, the Falcons, man, they just ruined a lot of people's weekends. I mean, I don't know if it was Kirk Cousins. I don't know what it was. I mean, but that was just a pathetic showing by the Falcons. And, so I could not get around that. But also just that Mooney adjustment took my Saquon Barkley ownership way down, and I did not realize it until after the fact, because I saw Saquon, had that 70-yard touchdown right at the beginning, and it was like, man, I know I had some Saquon, and I had 25 lineups, and I only had 2 Saquon rosters, and I just hands or head, just shaking my head in that moment, dude. That was brutal. So ended up about down 50% ROI, and again, I mean, it's just, at this point, it's like I'm just hoping that I can get 1 or 2 weeks where it's like I'm having a real shot at taking down first, and 1 or 2 of those weeks, and it would more than pay off and probably 3 or 4x my entry fees for the season. So So I'm not too discouraged. Glad I won some of it back, but overall, it was a frustrating weekend. I would say, just with the way things turned out. But hey, we move on. I know last week in the lineup we built on this show, I wasn't even able to pull it up or anything like that, but it was a Lamar Jackson stack, so kind of irrelevant at this point.
Yeah, one of the challenges with us kind of doing these shows early in the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's 10:30 on a Tuesday night now.
Yeah,
you get a lot of news later in the week that you just don't have. So when we do these shows, we just kind of try to do our best guess. And to me, I've always kind of thought the point of these shows is just to kind of talk through the thought process and
strategy, right,
and the strategy just in general, where we're not really a picks and plays type of website. So yeah, so we'll try again this week.
Exactly. I mean, a 1 week season, it's like, and certainly people do have their plays that they like, and we provide that, but it's more than just that. It's more like, if you just are feeding someone picks, hey, play, this guy's in a great matchup, play that guy, like, that's great. But like, you got to understand, like, it's also about how you build your lineups, which you like to talk about, correlation and that kind of stuff. With that, let's jump in here to DraftKings, and I'll jump into our classic single entry here, and then we'll just kind of go do what we normally do and build. Or kind of look over kind of spots that we like before we jump into this build. So I haven't done a ton of research yet, but one thing I noticed.
You haven't read my first look, Cheese? Come on.
I have not read it yet. I was not able to wasn't able to sit down and do it yet today. But maybe I'll do it after our show, or maybe I'll just go to bed. Who knows? But yeah, so there's three. Obviously, you have the obvious ones, which I think, I don't think anyone's going to be surprised that I'll say I would love the Chicago-Cincinnati game, Pittsburgh and the Colts, and of course, Kansas City-Buffalo, though that is always just two tough teams to stack for because pricing is already tight, and starting your lineups with a 7K quarterback is going to make it even tougher. So one place that I always like to look at teams that are playing at home that are big home favorites, because a lot of times you actually do get really big scores out of those teams, but a lot of times the field shies away, or they can tend to shy away when they see, Green Bay favored by 13.5 against Carolina. Packers aren't going to really be pressed. They're just going to kind of take their foot off the gas, but sometimes you can get big scores on the way up. And so one thing I do like, I wasn't going to actually target Green Bay, but Detroit, like a Detroit Lions overstack is always in play. And if I open up ownership Friday, Saturday morning and see, hey, Jared Goff's coming in at 2% ownership, or a Lions stack is coming in really low owned, you have to remember this Lions team, they will continue to put up points late into a game, even if they're already ahead by a lot. And so it's very hard to stack the Lions as well, and already on a week where pricing is tight and people want to find a way to fit in Jonathan Taylor. I haven't actually messed around with a Lions overstack of like a Goff, Gibbs, and Amon-Ra, or even throwing in Jameson Williams for some value. So I definitely will keep my eye on especially the Lions, and playing at home. I mean, at Ford Field, just a spot that I like. And I did not read your first look yet, so I don't know what your thoughts were. I know the Vikings, the name brand of the Vikings defense is very strong, but they have been giving up some games this year.
Yeah, Jared Goff was a matchup in the same game you just highlighted that I called out, kind of talked kind of through that game. It's already up on the scroll. If you're an Inner Circle member, it's in Discord. It's pinned in Discord, and it will be out on Twitter usually Wednesday morning. So well in advance of you being able to watch this video. So you can check out those thoughts on either Twitter or X or whatever it's called these days, or Discord. If you want to kind of get my full early week breakdown of that game. But yeah, Goff was a spot that I liked.
Do you
I
think
think you hit on a couple others. Like I did really like going back to Joe Flacco, and very easy to pair him with Jamar Chase there. Like that's just such an obvious pairing. Like Jamar Chase has seen 42 targets in the 2 games. It's an average of 21 targets a game. Obviously, that's not sustainable, but
unheard of.
It's obvious who Flacco's looking for. So, and that spot I really liked. You highlighted again, Patrick Mahomes, or Josh Allen. I like that game a lot. I think that we'll probably build around Daniel Jones today. Like I do really like that game environment. And then the Giants and the 49ers, I thought was kind of a sneaky game environment, like just overall to bet around. But then obviously there were some pieces that stood out to me, and we can make that kind of be a transition to kind of hop into the lineup if you're cool with that.
Absolutely, man. Let's hop in. I did want to ask you though real fast. I mean, I'm asking you to speculate here, but how high owned do you think the Lions will be? Like, do you think Goff will be potentially will get some ownership going into this week?
I don't think he'll be highly owned at all. No, he's not going to be unowned. But I think his ownership will likely come in when we kind of pull back the curtain 1 p.m. on Sunday.
Yeah.
I think that he comes in single, 4 to 5% ownership would literally be my guess on a Tuesday.
I was going to say
now.
under 5%.
Yeah, under 5% would
I've
be
been
my
wrong
guess.
before, badly. Yeah, but
no, I think that's a good guess. Like there are better spots that are going to just stand out to people. Yeah. And I think that Daniel Jones, who's like 100 or 200 more than him, is going to be way more popular.
That's very true. Yeah, just even that in that same pricing tier. All right. With that aside, let's jump into this build. Where do you want to start with this one? Obviously, we're going to target the Colts. So do you want to start with their primary?
I think early on you actually teased it because we talked a lot, and a lot of times on the show we just kind of build from the hip. Today we kind of talked a little bit in advance of what we were going to do, give you a little bit of a teaser for your intro, and so and kind of going through my first look, like one of the players that stood out to me, or at least one of the situations, is the ground game for the Giants. Just I don't know that it's going to be sneaky. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up as a very chalky piece. But with the Cam Scatabo injury, like Tyrone Tracy's only $5,100, and he's been reasonably effective. Like I went back and looked, and in his career, like he's sophomore, last year was his rookie season, but in his career he's averaged 4.74 yards per touch. So like, for reference, like Cam Scatabo is 4.9 yards per touch. So I don't expect a huge drop off in efficiency. I think Singletary is going to mix in, but like he hasn't seen more than 7 touches in a game. So like Tyrone Tracy is going to touch the ball 15 plus times. And in terms of like targets, which are more valuable than rushes to begin with, but Tracy's got 4 times the targets that Singletary has this season, despite the fact that Tracy's missed multiple games. So
yes,
to me, I think I don't want to say it's a slam dunk, but in terms of value at running back, then things could change. I think he's probably the best value play at running back on the slate.
Yeah. And again, running back is more about, bad running backs can still be good plays. And I'm not saying Tracy's a bad running back, but just generally, like that running back position, if a player is going to get volume, it doesn't matter if they're not very good. Like so many things in a game can happen that can put the ball for whatever reason inside the 5, inside, at the 1 yard line, a pass interference, turnover, anything like that. And then that running back can just punch it in. So I just like, if you can get, especially on a week where we are starved for value, a 5,100 running back is certainly going to be something that will be in the consideration of people.
Yeah. And then I think from here we can kind of hop into kind of where I want to build around this week, and that is with Daniel Jones. So Steelers on defense have given up season-high passing yardage to 4 straight quarterbacks. Jordan Love went for 360 yards and 3 touchdowns last week. Joe Flacco, 342 and 3 touchdowns the week before. Gabriel, who hasn't done much this season, but he threw for his high 3 weeks ago against the Steelers. And then a week before that, Carson Wentz went for 350 yards and 2 touchdowns, again, his high for the season. And then, a little bit earlier, so like that's 4 straight quarterbacks were 8 weeks into the season that have had their best games against the Steelers. And then Sam Darnold back in week 2 had his second best outing of the year with 295 yards and 2 touchdowns. So like the environment stands out for me for Daniel Jones. Like the Colts offense in general has been awesome. I think people are going to want to play Jonathan Taylor again, who's got, I think it's 4 games now in the above 40 or above 30 points. It could be 5. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
He's
5.
5 games above 30 points. Like his salary is astronomical at 9,800. And so like, I don't know that a score that like hurts you for not playing him in terms of point per dollar is like realistic. Like, that would be a 4.5, 5x score. That would literally be him scoring 45, 50 points. I think that's a tough ask. So to me, I think if JT is going to be popular again, which I think he probably will have some ownership, like I really prefer to go Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
And, through the air, the Steelers have given up some monster games to multiple tight ends, like Hunter Henry and Tucker Kraft both went for 29 or more points against the Steelers this year. So I think that makes it really easy to kind of pair him with Tyler Warren. I think Tyler Warren leads the team in red zone targets. So they're looking for him in the end zone. It's only got 3 touchdowns on the year, consistently kind of seeing in that middle 5, 6, 7 targets every week, but they're high quality targets. So I like Tyler Warren here. And then I think with Daniel Jones, because he does have that rushing ability, like I think that you could single stack him. I think for us here, like I want to kind of double stack. I kind of want to lean into this game being a little bit higher scoring, even though we've kind of see Indy run up the score no matter what their opponent does. Opponents have done reasonably well against the Colts. Like they're giving up yardage, they're giving up points. So, I feel like this is a spot where I'm happy to have a bring back here. I think opposing pass catchers like Trey McBride, Troy Franklin, Puka Nacua, Keenan Allen, Oronde Gadsden, they all had 20-plus points, against the Colts. So I think DK Metcalf is really interesting if we want to build this as part of a game stack. So yeah, let's add in Metcalf, and then let's add in either Pitt. Let's go high, and let's just start with Michael Pittman in this stack. And if we need to go down to Alec Pierce, I'm okay with that as well, or even Josh Downs, depending on salary. But let's start aggressive with Michael Pittman. I think Pittman's got 50 some odd targets on the year too. He's actively involved. And I think he's second in the team in red zone targets. So again, back-to-back weeks with 9 targets, you probably am looking for 25 points from him. He hasn't done it yet this year. He's got back-to-back games above 20 points. Gets you something in the 20s. I think you're not upset. 900. So yeah, let's pencil in Pittman here, and then that kind of gives us the core of our build, with still 5,000 plus players, and we still haven't done a defense. So I do feel like we've got some good flexibility here.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so far for those keeping track on the pod, it is Daniel Jones with Pittman, Tyler or TJ Warren, and DK Metcalf on the bring back. And obviously in this game, you are, because the Colts, they've still putting up huge numbers. Daniel Jones, though, has not put up a ton of huge scores, neither have his receiving core. But with the DK Metcalf bring back, you're kind of assuming that this game is close and both teams have to continue to put up points. And hopefully these guys can access those ceilings. Because again, like even Warren here, he's got no games north of 20 so far. But again, this Colts team has just been able to take their foot off the gas every game so far. And in this case, I think we could see that change potentially.
Yeah, I mean, and Pittsburgh is at home. They are a better defense against the run. And as we kind of talked about, you've got 4 straight quarterbacks, and these are not elite quarterbacks. We're talking Jordan Love, Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, Carson Wentz, Sam Darnold, like putting up their best games of the season against Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
I would argue Daniel Jones is as good as any of those guys. And so, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see
before the season starts, but now, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised to see 300 plus yards, him accounting for 3 touchdowns. Maybe he gets one on the ground. He's got a couple rushing touchdowns this year. All that takes away from Jonathan Taylor. And so, yeah, I mean, this is a little bit of a bet on something you haven't seen, because we haven't seen, multiple Colts pass catchers give you 20-plus point games. But this is the situation that they would do it in. So I like making that bet, and it's kind of direct leverage off of Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, absolutely. Stat, I think you're trying to trigger me, though, that the thing you did say before, you said the quarterbacks against Pittsburgh, these guys are not elite. You have Jordan Love. What? No, just kidding. I'm a Packers fan. Okay, Let's go to defense. Salary,
where do I want to go?
Tight. It is very tight. And yeah, where do you want to go on defense? Probably looking to save.
So I usually try to go, I try to pick out like 4 or 5 defenses that I like 1 or 2 pay ups, 1 or 2 in the middle, and then like one kind of like more pay down. I struggled this week to get a cheap defense that I liked.
Yeah,
man, if you go down there, the cheaper defenses are generally like they're on the road. Panthers at Green Bay, the Saints at the Rams, the Vikings at Detroit. These are 1, not great defenses, 2 on the road, and 3 playing strong offenses. Not really spots I want to go. I don't know. The Raiders are at least at home, but the Raiders defense has not been strong. I don't know. The cheapest defense that stood out to me, honestly, is the Texans at home.
I was just gonna say that.
So I don't mind the Texans, but again, I feel like we've got a decent amount of salary here with 5,500 left without a D. Let's pay up, and if we have to punt a defense or if we have to go down, we could go down. But I think the Rams are my favorite defense this week. They're at home. They're going to be facing the Saints. They're going to be facing Tyler Shuck making his first start. It'll be his first start, and it'll be on the road. And it's not like the Saints are that strong of a team. So I kind of like this environment for the Rams. I think that you could very easily play Kyren Williams in that running back spot, have that defense running back correlation where, you're just kind of saying the Rams win this game, 24-6. I wouldn't be surprised by that. We've seen some 30-point games from Kyren. You're kind of needing at least 25,
right? 1 in every 4. That's what JM says. He's due. Yeah. He's had 1 out of 8, 1 out of 7 games so far. He's had.
So I don't mind that at all. Again, now we're up to 6,000 a spot. So I don't mind that.
Do you want to plug in Kyren Williams?
Yeah, we could plug in Kyren Williams. I don't know that that's where we'll end, but we could go Kyren Williams. That's fine.
I'll put in Kyren
I do like Kamani Vidal as well, in that same price range. Again, strong, going against Tennessee, like I don't mind that as well. It gives us a little bit more flexibility.
Okay, so let me put. I actually had taken Kyren out because I was going to put him in the flex.
Yeah,
that works out. I'll just put Vidal in there.
Yeah, and again, we have flexibility if we need. We can go off of Pittman down to Alec Pierce. We could go down from the Rams defense. So we have some flexibility. But I think with the last two spots, I want to try to account for what I will call the late afternoon hammer, like that Chiefs-Bills game. I think that you're going to want to have pieces from that game. And, we've got two roster spots here, a wide receiver and a flex. Let's fill them with guys from that game. So I think if you just click on Buffalo, Kansas, just do that. Wide receiver one in Kansas City is Rashi Rice. Or Rashi Rice. Let's get Rice in there at 7,600 and see what that leaves us in the flex.
Yep. And that leaves 4K in the flex. Let me see what we got down here. I guess we're still looking. I mean, if you want to stick with this game, there's
I want to stick with this game. So, scroll down below the backup running backs for each team.
Okay. Oh, Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah, let's go Dalton Kincaid. I like this spot for Kincaid. He has shown that ceiling. I think that Buffalo is going to have to, for 4,000, he's got a 14-point game, a 17-point game, a 20-point game in 7 weeks. Like if you get one of those type of 15 to 20 points at 4K, like I'm happy with that. And this is
he's 1 and 2
a game
right
environment
now.
where they're going to have to throw. Say again.
Yeah. He's one out of every 2 because he's played 7. Looks like they have 6 games that they've played so far because they've already had their bye. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 3 out of 6 games, he's gotten you like a very solid score for his price. He had 15 in week 1, 18 in week 3, 20 in week 5. But the other weeks, actually, the only one that really would kill you at his salary was last weekend, was the 3.3 put up against Carolina. But no, I like that.
But he wasn't needed. Like they just smashed Carolina. They're not going to smash Kansas City. So I feel like it's a game that'll be heavily involved. And so I like where we ended up here. If we wanted to, get that correlation with the Rams, like if you wanted to play Kyren, like easy to do to just get off of Kamali Vidal, like I'm happy to do that and then just go down from Pittman to Alec Pierce. Like that's a 1-for-1 swap, have a little bit of salary even left over. If that's the way that you wanted to go, I feel like that's a viable way. It's just not on that game.
Okay, so that would give you certainly additional flexibility. I would go Kyren. You could even get up to James Cook, but that's got a tough matchup. It is at home, but Kyren, I like that. Gives you that extra.
Yeah, you could go that way as well, if you wanted.
Of course, that feels point chasey with James Cook. He doesn't normally put up the kind of game he had last week. It was against Carolina. So so this is kind of like a 1A 1B situation for this build. Anything else you wanted to add here, Stat?
Just out of curiosity, if you left it as is with the extra 800, could you get to like Shakir instead of Kincaid? Again, like just kind of talking through kind of options. I have no idea because no, I don't think so.
Search him.
It's close.
Shakir 5,300.
Now you're a couple hundred short. I wouldn't. I would keep it with Kincaid.
You could put Shakir and bump it down on a defense if you wanted to, but yeah, Kincaid.
Yeah, I like the correlation better. You know, we went to Kyren because we were playing the Rams D, so you know, I'd rather just kind of keep that.
Oh yeah, that's true. Forgot about that.
So yeah, you can go this way or with Vidal and Pittman instead of Pierce. So
yeah, I like Pierce, kind of that deep threat. Awesome. Stat, there it is. The lineup we built today. Daniel Jones with Alec Pierce and TJ Warren, the bring back DK Metcalf, and then Tyrone Tracy, Kyren Williams, Rashee Rice, Dalton Kincaid, and the Rams D. And that'll wrap it for this edition of the DFS Lab. Of course, again, guys, you're watching this Thursday morning, but we are recording this Tuesday night. Maybe some news has even broken by now. Hopefully not. Hopefully this is still relevant when it airs. But keep an eye on the news. Obviously, there's a lot of questionable tags. Stat, any final thoughts, man, before we ship this one off?
No, as always, hoping to see more OWS avatars at top of leaderboards again this week.
That's right, man. Hope to see you guys at the top of the leaderboards. Thanks for tuning in. Stat, take it easy. And guys, we'll catch you next week.